Lindsay, Minbos has announced a funding package consisting of a large debt component and a smaller equity piece. Can you discuss the funding and talk us through how this capital will be allocated?
Yeah, so we've got credit approval from the IDC, Industrial Development Corporation of South Africa, for 14 million US project finance for Kabinda Phosphate Project. Very important organisation and very important for us. On the back of that, we've just completed a $6 million Australian capital raising with our investors, of which the board and management contributed almost 20%. And all of those funds will be used for the commencement of the stage one construction of the Minbos phosphate project.
Excellent. So following this funding package, from what I can tell, there's only a small amount of capex required to fund Kabinda to completion. Is there any plans for this remaining capex?
Yeah, beyond the IDC, we need 10 million US, and we just raised 6 million Australian. The government has put in place a lot of initiatives to help with that funding, and some of that is just recently. So some is debt, and there's equity options over there as well. So my CFO flew over to Angola on the weekend, and he's over there working on the debt options, and I'll be over there next week working on the equity options where we've initially contact there. But should also mention that I attended the Gates Foundation presentation on green ammonia in Marrakesh a few weeks ago, and we've had a number of approaches after that because people were just not aware of the impact our project was going to have, or not even aware of our project. So we're following those leads down as well. And the IDC, announcing the IDC, already we've had unsolicited approaches from saying, I didn't realise you were going so fast. And so you'd gone so far ahead. Is there any way we could help? And people recognise the amount of due diligence that's been done by the IDC and understand that in the African context, the risks have been assessed, and they understand this project is more robust than they'd actually been contemplating probably for 15 months.
So the stock was in suspension pending this announcement. Can you discuss why this was the case?
Yeah, it took a little while. So IDC went into credit approval while we're in suspension. It took a little while longer for that to go through than we'd anticipated. And we did actually receive some unsolicited strategic partner approaches that were worth pursuing in that time. So that took us a little while longer than we'd anticipated. But it's a great outcome because, IDC, they've already project financed the Kabinda oil refinery. So they understand our province, they understand our country, they understand the region. They are a SADC institution, so they understand all of the tax and the importation, exportation and trade implications for what could happen between Angola and the rest of Southern Africa. So while it took a little bit longer, it was just something worthwhile putting that in place before we went back to shareholders and said, look, this is the key strategic part of the funding package to put in place.
What can we expect from Minbos going forward at both Kabinda as well as Kapunda?
Yeah, so it comes back to the funding. So the first thing is stage one production at Kabinda for the phosphate. And, we'll be looking to firm up our offtake agreements. I think we'll hear something soon about working in countries other than Angola that are adjacent to us. We'll put in place the local debt, which will be lease working capital, but it looks like there could be availability for factoring finance as well, which would be great for us and our customers. And local equity options plus external equity options, they're the big thing to put in place. And as I said, don't want to start construction any later than July. And if we can go earlier. But July will help. July will enable us to meet the customer offtake requirements. On beyond that, IDC brings some interesting relationships. They are a very significant stakeholder in one of the large fertiliser producers in Southern Africa, and they are interested in phosphate rock. So we have now 2 NDAs and engaging with 2 potential phosphate rock export customers. That means, and at the same time, the deepwater port in Kabinda is progressing rapidly. So we are looking at our expansion options, and the capex for the expansion is very small and the payback is very quick. We'll look at whether we actually bring that forward and put it into stage one. So that's something that we'll have to look at pretty quickly. Beyond that, we've got 2 proposals for engineering PFS on the table, which we're evaluating for the Kapunda green ammonia project. And we've got a marketing study that's been scoped and almost ready to commence as well, to talk about where does the product go, how does it get there, what are the best strategic partners, and we'll line up with that. So we're pushing buttons on that on the project. Long term, rather than just producing nitrogen and phosphorus, there's options to produce nitrogen phosphorus fertilisers, and that will be as the market matures and the agriculture matures, that'll be an option. And people have already started talking to us about those options as well. But the vision really stays the same. We're working with Group Cohinho, we're working with the government. Their first objective is to alleviate poverty in a third of the population that are at subsistence level. And that's where Cohinho's working, that's where we're working, that's where our product just has sort of almost magic effects. And we'll push that to alleviate poverty. And that changes the economy. It brings people into a formal economy. They start having bank accounts. They start having health outcomes. It just changes the country. And the next step is you try and turn some of those people in from growing just to eat to grow to sell, and that drives food security. And I think that's the medium-term vision of a lot of the people that are putting money into Angola, including Angola, get food security. Long-term, 10 years, export. Diversify the economy. And if we can be pushing where we are now, once that sort of comes into play, then we're going to be, the dominant nutrient supplier, a very, very large agricultural company and a very substantial company.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for your time today. And I look forward to following what's happening at Minbos.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Gigi. There's lots happening, lots more to happen.